Her reign began at 6 days old. A bride at 16, a widow by 17. Drawn into a whirlwind of passion, it was love that would ultimately destroy her. She didn't just lose her lover. She watched in horror as he was stabbed 56 times, right before her eyes. The floor soaked in blood, the screams echoing. That moment shattered everything. From there came betrayal, imprisonment, and finally, her execution by beheading. Scotland is a land divided. Powerful clans vie for control, and to the south, a wolf lies in wait. King Henry VIII of England. Amid this storm, a girl is born, Mary Stuart. Just 6 days later, her father, King James V, dies after a humiliating military defeat. His final words become a haunting prophecy. It began with a lass, and it will end with a lass. At 6 days old, Mary becomes queen, a crown for an infant, a nation in chaos without a ruler. For Henry VIII, this is a golden opportunity. He proposes a marriage between Mary and his son, a plan to annex Scotland without bloodshed. This plan is called the Treaty of Greenwich. But Scotland's Catholic lords, bound by a long-standing alliance with France, refuse. They'd rather face war than submit. And Henry gives them war. His rough wooing devastates Scotland's borders, burning villages, slaughtering civilians. The goal is not conquest, but terror. To save their queen and Scotland's future, the lords make a fateful decision: send the child to France. At age 5, Mary leaves her gray homeland for the radiant light of France. She grows into the epitome of a Renaissance princess, tall, graceful, brilliant, fluent in multiple languages, a poet, a dancer. France adores her. At 15, she marries the heir to the French throne, Francis. A year later, she becomes Queen of France. For a fleeting moment, Mary wears 2 crowns. Her future seems destined for glory. But fate is cruel. Francis dies suddenly. At 17, Mary is a widow, a foreign queen with no power. In the French court, she is no longer an asset, but a political liability. She is forced to return, back to Scotland. Mary thinks,
France taught me how to be a queen, but it did not teach me how to be a Scot. I returned to my homeland a stranger, speaking the tongue of an old enemy, carrying a faith my people now call here.
Mary returns to a Scotland transformed. The Protestant Reformation, led by the fiery preacher John Knox, has swept the land. Knox sees a Catholic queen as an affront to God. The most powerful man in Scotland is her half-brother, James Stuart, Earl of Moray, a pragmatic Protestant with ambition. He sees Mary's faith as the seed of civil war. Earl of Moray say,
"A mass in the Queen's private chapel could soon become a mass across the kingdom. We cannot let the old fires of Rome burn our new freedom."
But Mary proves a shrewd politician. She does not suppress Protestants. She appoints Moray as her chief advisor. She wields her charm and French culture as political weapons, trying to tame rough lords. Meanwhile, in England, Queen Elizabeth I watches with heightened caution. For Elizabeth, whose claim to the throne is questioned by many Catholics, Mary is a living threat. Young, fertile, with an undeniable royal bloodline. Elizabeth say,
"As long as that Scottish woman lives, I will never be safe. She is the focus of every plot, the hope of all my enemies."
The rivalry between the two queens begins. A deadly chess game played through letters, promises, and spies. In 1565, Mary makes a bold move. She marries her cousin, Henry Stuart, Lord Darnley. A Catholic with Tudor blood, this marriage directly challenges Elizabeth and strengthens Mary's claim to the English throne. At first, it is passion, but Darnley soon reveals his true nature: arrogant, weak, and consumed by jealousy. He demands to be king, something Mary will never grant. Frustration turns to rage. He lashes out at a perceived rival, David Rizzio, Mary's Italian private secretary. Rizzio is intelligent, talented, and the Queen's confidant. Darnley and hostile Protestant lords plot to remove him. On the night of March 9th, 1566, they storm Mary's private dining room, where she sits 6 months pregnant. They drag Rizzio from the Queen's feet and stab him 56 times before her eyes. Mary thinks,
That night, it wasn't just Rizzio who died. Part of me died too. My innocence, my trust in men. They wanted me to fear, but they only taught me to hate.
Mary survives, but she is forever changed. She learns a brutal lesson. In a man's world, a queen can only trust herself. Less than a year later, Mary's husband, Lord Darnley, is found dead in a garden, strangled, beside his house destroyed by a gunpowder explosion. The prime suspect, James Hepburn, Earl of Bothwell, a seasoned soldier with unwavering loyalty to Mary and ruthless ambition. Bothwell is put on trial, but it's a farce. He is acquitted, and then Mary makes the decision that destroys her reign. She marries Bothwell just 3 months after her husband's death. Mary thinks,
Love? Fear? Or the desperate move of a queen with no way out? After Darnley's betrayal, Bothwell was the only rock I could cling to, but that rock pulled me to the depths.
the scandal erupts. The lords, including Moray, now have the perfect excuse to rebel. They accuse their queen of adultery and murder. Whether driven by passion or coercion, this decision becomes Mary's irredeemable political mistake. She hands her enemies the weapon to destroy her. The rebel lords capture Mary and imprison her at Lochleven Castle. Bothwell is forced to flee Scotland, never to return. In her cold prison, Mary miscarries twins. Physically and mentally shattered, she is forced to abdicate, ceding the throne to her infant son, James. Moray becomes regent. They take her crown. Now, they control her son. But the fire in Mary has not died. In 1568, with the help of loyalists, she stages a daring escape. Within days, she raises an army of 6,000 men, ready to fight for her throne. Hope flares, bright and brief. At the Battle of Langside, her forces are crushed by Moray's army. For Moray, this is not a war between siblings. It is a war between Protestant order and Catholic chaos. Defeated and desperate, Mary flees south, making one final fateful decision: to seek help from her cousin, Queen Elizabeth. She runs from one prison to another, far larger one. Elizabeth faces a dilemma. Killing an anointed queen sets a dangerous precedent, but freeing Mary risks a Catholic uprising in England. So, she imprisons Mary in a gilded cage. For 19 years, Mary becomes a symbol of Catholic resistance. Plots are hatched in her name, and Elizabeth has a secret weapon: Francis Walsingham, her spymaster. Walsingham builds Europe's most sophisticated intelligence network. He reads every letter Mary sends and receives. He waits for a mistake. The final trap is set in 1586 with the Babington plot. Coded letters, allegedly showing Mary approving a plan to assassinate Elizabeth. Did Mary truly approve, or were the incriminating parts forged by Walsingham? We may never know, but the trap is sprung. Walsingham has the evidence he needs. February 8, 1587. This is not an execution. This is Mary's final stage. She walks to the scaffold wearing a black gown. But as she sheds her outer layer, she reveals a crimson underdress, the color of martyrdom in the Catholic Church. Her final act of defiance. She forgives her executioner and prays aloud. Mary say,
In manus tuas domini commendo spiritum meum.
After 3 blows of the axe, the Queen of Scots' head falls. In the horrified silence of the crowd, her auburn wig slips off, revealing short, gray hair, whitened by suffering. A symbol of royal vanity collapses, leaving a woman who endured too much. Mary Stuart is dead, but her story is only beginning. 16 years later, Elizabeth I dies, childless. The heir to the English throne is the son of the woman she executed, James VI of Scotland. In death, Mary achieves what she could not in life, uniting 2 crowns under her bloodline. Her son becomes James I of England, beginning the Stuart dynasty that will shape modern Britain. James has his mother's remains moved to Westminster Abbey, placed in a magnificent tomb near the very woman who ordered her death, Elizabeth I. 2 queens, 2 rivals, now lie side by side in the silence of history. Mary Stuart may have lost the battle for the throne, but in the end, her legacy won. She was a queen battered by fate, but the mother of an empire. A tragic tale of power, faith, and a heart that loved too fiercely. The tragic life of Mary Stuart has ended, but the story of power, intrigue, and survival continues. In our next video, we uncover the story of Queen Elizabeth I, her cousin, rival, and the one who sealed her fate? How did their complex relationship shape the history of Britain? And was the rise of James I, Mary's son, truly her final triumph? Don't miss the next episode to find out.
A marvelful sight. Strings will awaken beneath the weeping sky. A king's sorrow in shadows cast. Always lament for there to last. Tumults rumble, a distant threat. Violins cry, a fate not met. Horns resound, a power untold. A story unfolds in hues of gold. In shades of gray, a tragic light. A queen's downfall in fading light. Souls in history bends low past the knell. Dark royal history, wish to stone etchings on. Crown from peace in a fire flame as the green lord of rain. Reveal choir, a haunting grace. A ghostly echo in time and space. Heart petals like teardrops fall. A shadowed kingdom destined to fall. The weighted power, a broken spirit beyond control. Set the stage, nothing for through despair. Profoundly known, a fleeting moment, a fragile peace before the darkness will never cease. From the whistle on the ender and swung, dark rule history, wish to stone, etched in stone. A crown of thorns, bitter sting of fog flame, and the throne of slowly. Strings and choir fade slowly with a final lingering cello note. A queen's lament, forevermore tragedies, stories to hearts it bore.